Okay, so welcome to part 2 of co-wholesaling training. Okay, so the first one was a little bit long, and this one will also be a little bit long, but please listen to these trainings in its entirety and make sure that you are taking notes and rewind as you need, and download this for future references. Okay, so the way we kind of work this thing is, remember, we're kind of just identifying what we're going to do, deciding, on the market. Then we're going to build it, and then we will kind of, outsource some of this stuff as you build your team. Okay. And you're going to discover what savvy investing is all about. So this is like the wholesaling, but in a very savvy way. Okay. And you're going to get step by step exactly how I do it, how to decide, your target market, how to build your pipeline. And then the two kind of key players that I have in the business that you'll need. So let's get ready. And of course, my disclaimer, not an attorney, not a legal professional. So do not take either of this as legal or tax advice. Okay. So let's get into it. So remember your 3-step process and flipping properties nationwide, working just a few hours a week. Is this 3-step process. Step 1, decide. Okay, you're going to decide what market, you're going to figure out which market you're going to be in. Number 2, you are going to kind of build your team, and that's the buyers and stuff that you're also going to be working with. And then 3, you're going to probably start to build the business up and outsource and delegate. Okay, now you're going to be a professional in this. Okay, so we establish one market, we start crushing it, and then you just move on to the next one, and you can scale it as large as you want. This is absolutely the easiest and fastest way to profits. And so you definitely want to make sure that you have this as one of the strategies that is in your back pocket for revenue. All right. And you can control just how busy you are. And that's what's really important, is kind of deciding and being in control of your business. Okay, so you're a relationship builder. Like I said, this is what we're all about. That's why it's very important. Once again, please read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, because the principles that are in this book will help you build these relationships. In exchange, we collect a marketing fee, and that's typically half of the profit spread. So we are not buying or selling property. We're not closing on the property. We're not working with listed properties whatsoever. These are private owner properties. We're not physically meeting with sellers, pretty much never ever. And you're not going to have to meet with the buyers never ever in these situations. So in the co-wholesaling, why it's awesome and why it's a great revenue stream is because of how easy it is, and it already feeds into what you're already doing. So you work for our buyers. We work for our buyers, and our buyers are the meat and potatoes in this part of it. So your buyers, your alpha and omega. It's all about building the rapport with them. So you need to have rapport, and you don't have to have experience, but you do have to have rapport, because your co-wholesaler relationships are going to give you the access to the properties that are unknown to your buyers. All right. So market condition, market numbers, all the details that you typically need to know about in order to be an investor in a virtual market. All of these details are going to be handled for you, because you are partnering with a wholesaler that has already done all the work for you. All right. So I need you to kind of understand that. We're going to go deeper into this later, but don't start worrying about all of that now and knowing every market, because you'll see this a little bit more clearly later on. So here is an example of what this looked like. You get on a wholesaler's buyers list. You send their inventory to their buyers. Now, obviously, you don't just forward emails and stuff like that, but you're mediating the deal in between you, your buyer, and the wholesalers. Okay, you get on the HUD-1. This is why I had you establish your business a very specific way, and you get paid. It's really that simple. All right, so these are the steps and the principles that we're going to go through. So again, let's start with step 1, your target market. All right. So identifying your target market. Some real estate markets are better than others for, what we're doing here. And I can tell you why. And people ask this question, are there better markets than others? Yeah, absolutely, yes. So we want to go where all the cash transactions are taking place. And there's about 100 markets across the country where that's happening. That is where you want to be. Now, as a savvy investor, you're going to be starting off with probably what's closest to you. Then you're going to take a look into some overflow markets, and we'll talk about that in a second. The value of local knowledge is important, but it's not necessary, and I will tell you why. Okay, so some top savvy markets. Now, we want to find hot rental markets where there are high return on investments for landlords. Okay. We want an active network of wholesalers. So again, we'll do a Google search, and we want to see if there are a lot of other wholesalers in that market. We want a large number of all cash transactions, markets with high volumes of cash transactions. In order to find these, it's very, very simple because it's completely public, and there are numerous publications everywhere, newspapers, blogs that are constantly publicizing the top markets in the country, including sites like Zillow, Realty Tract, Redfin, RealQuest, all the top guys. So Google top real estate investment markets. All right. Now, these are not the only markets, but it's a great place to start. Also, you have overflow markets. An overflow market are markets bordering major metropolitan areas, and overflow markets are these are your next best choice. So an example would be, like Orlando, Florida. Okay, that's a focus market. But an overflow market would include, Kissimmee, Davenport, Tampa, some of the other areas. These cities get direct commerce and direct overflow from the major metropolitan downtown Orlando area. There are huge opportunities for these neighboring cities that receive the benefits of the major downtown commerce. And the reason being is that there are numerous wholesalers in these markets. They are not oversaturated with other wholesalers, and there's a great opportunity in working with new wholesalers. Again, we're going to get into the details in just a little bit later, but here's a big picture or a map of kind of how you want to think about it, with maybe, the major city, just again, using Orlando as the big red dot in the middle. Now, think of what's around it. And one of the things that you might see is like the University of Central Florida, okay, UCF. And that's because colleges. So same thing, like, with even the Dallas area, where Denton, where the University of Texas is, and Austin, you have University of Texas. Colleges automatically bring with them big rental areas, okay? Where there are a lot of college students, there's a lot of housing needed. Where there's a lot of housing needed, there are a lot of landlords. And where there are a lot of landlords, there's typically some good wholesalers. You want to befriend that wholesaler, get their list of inventory, and start working with them, all right? Now, you may have areas like, Altamonte Springs, Winter Park, that are bordering kind of like Orlando. Again, just using Orlando as an example, that you get direct commerce from. And so kind of start to think about that, like Kissimmee, St. Cloud. Again, whatever major city you are, think about the other major markets around it that feed that business. Now, personally, I know about these because I worked in these markets for many years. And there's a little secret ninja tip about the overflow markets. There are a small amount of wholesalers doing a large amount of properties. Again, these are the wholesalers that you want to align yourself with. All right. Local knowledge. Now, you don't need local knowledge, but in the beginning, it completely could help benefit you. Okay. So now, where do you have roots? Meaning, where do you have friends and business associates? Have you lived in one of the top and overflow markets before? So in the results that you're looking to get for the top markets in the nation, almost all results end up in the exact same cities. Have you lived in one of these before? Do you have friends in one of those markets? Do you have business associates in one of those markets? Do you have family in one of those markets? If the answer is yes, and you are familiar with one of those areas, I suggest you start off in one of those markets, okay? So an ideal first target market would be one of the top markets in the country, or an overflow market plus an area that you have local knowledge about, okay? Once again, it just helps get your feet wet. Once you set up the system in that market with confidence, you'll be able to easily move on to the next market, all right? Now that you identified your target market, as a savvy investor, it's time to kind of like build it up. So building your team. So let's talk about where to go. So there's two key players, cash buyers and wholesalers. Pretty much it. So, all right, that's it. All right, cash buyers. Your ideal cash buyer is actually what I call the retail investor buyer. Okay, so this retail investor buyer, has cash. They can close fast. They're not the big fix and flip person in your area, and they're not a seasoned investor. So again, your ideal buyer is a fresh new buyer, regular people who want to put their money to work and invest in real estate. There are tons of people that want to invest in real estate and want your help that you can start to partner with. I've told you, partnerships and relationships are everything, okay? Now, these people hit the market every single day all across the country. This is a fact. Now, a lot of times these retail cash buyers are professionals just entering, into the real estate these days. A lot of times they are entrepreneurs and business owners. They are doctors, they're executives, they're professionals, CEOs of companies. They have funds, they insurance settlements, retirees, small mom and pop investors. That's a key. The small mom and pop investors are awesome cash buyer clients to work with. Now, mind you, a lot of them have hard money lenders that you could connect them to. But the key is that they want to invest. Now this is why we are looking for these type of people, because they are prime for you to introduce to off-market deals that they have no knowledge of whatsoever. I'm telling you, everybody does not know about wholesaling, and they don't understand the business, and there's no point trying to teach everyone the business when you can just help them and leverage that and split marketing fees with them, okay, with the wholesalers, because most people have no idea about wholesaling. Do not know that you are in a very rare and exclusive group of people that even know and understand this, okay? So like I said, mom and pop investors, they're prime for you to introduce to off-market deals because they have no knowledge of this whatsoever. They pay the highest prices. They haggle much, much less than your seasoned investor, especially less than your fix and flip guy. Trust me. And best of all, they don't typically have other wholesalers' properties on their radar. This is perfect. This is the perfect candidate for you. Now, what they value is that you're bringing, what are you bringing to these buyers? Well, you're a professional. Once you have read all of this and kind of gone through the content and through my training, you're going to know 90% more than every other beginning investor out there, period, even more than some wholesalers. Your partners who are your co-wholesalers have done huge amounts of resources and just dug in to provide them with exclusive off-market deals. You are your buyer's gatekeeper for reaching their financial goals and getting them access to these deals. You only present deals that match or meet their goals. Most people have no idea how to find an actual good deal, okay? This is an actual huge value add. You are bringing them dollars on a silver platter. And it's much more costlier for them to go out alone. And in most cases, all of these people that we've just spoke about, when they want to get into the real estate business, what's the first thing that they're going to do? They're going to go look in the MLS. Well, those days are over. You are getting them access to deeply discounted wholesale properties that are not in the MLS. They would never know about these properties without you. And it's a mutually beneficial long-term relationship, okay? You are their go-to girl. You are their go-to guy, whatever. You bring them deals, you save them time, you make them money. They will be your loyal clients forever. Trust me. Now, building your buyers list. So there are two simple strategies to build your list. And then we're going to talk about a few more things about these simple, cheap strategies. Okay. The first one is bandit signs. I'm sure you've heard of them before. The other method that's free and simple is Craigslist ads. Okay. Now, quickly, we'll talk about bandit signs. Now, no matter how ugly or annoying they are, they work. They work very well. I'm sorry, they do. And they work really well when trying to trump up your buyer leads. So here's the thing. They are against most city ordinances and most municipalities across the country. Okay. Just being honest. So you're going to need to check with the city and make sure that, weigh the risk versus the reward. That's all I'll say here. But now I'll tell you, I still do it all the time. I've been slapped on the wrist a couple of times, but when I say slapped, I mean, I got a phone call. I've never gotten fined. So to me, it's worth it. But again, consult your local attorney. Now, homemade signs versus printed signs. I 100% prefer homemade signs rather than the professionally printed signs, okay, for this purpose. They're much more effective when drumming up your cash buyer leads. You'll see in a moment when you type this print on a bandit sign and you leave it on a light post or you stick it in the ground, it's going to look like you are an authentically distressed seller looking to sell your house for cheap. If there is one of those people that we just mentioned driving around the neighborhood looking for a good deal and having a tough time getting that good deal in the MLS, then he or she will see your sign. Guess what? Magic will happen. That's the call. Okay. They will call. It's really not that complicated. Now, you have to deploy these in your target market. It's pretty simple. Post an ad on Craigslist under the brief task jobs and get somebody and pay them if you want to do it that way. Each sign they should take a picture of. When the job is done, you pay them. All right. So this is how you can outsource your bandit signs. All right, here's an example of what a bandit sign might look like. And I kind of have a video already for you, so you already know this stuff. But this is, you know, the literature where the language, and we don't mess with it because it's very effective. So for your Craigslist ad, cheap handyman special, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, only $65,000 or whatever, must sell now, cash only, blah, 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 blank, blank, blank. And when you do this, we'll use our Google or our Grasshopper number. I prefer Grasshopper. You already know that, but you definitely can use Google Voice. You can get a free Google number just by, you know, google.com/voice. The reason you need a Google number is for 2 reasons, or a Grasshopper number or a sideline. You need a different number. Is you need a local area code, of course, very important. And second, and even more important, it's untraceable. So when the municipality might call and they leave a voicemail telling you to take your sign down, simply obey and take the sign down. That's it. Leave it alone. All right, Craigslist ads. So in Craigslist, we do the same thing. Handyman special, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, blah, 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 must sell. It's what we call a phantom listing, okay, or a ghost listing. If you don't have this property yet, you will soon, but trust me, just put the ad up. Include pics, include your email, include the Google Grasshopper number. That's it. All right, in Craigslist, where you want to post these ads is under the real estate by owner section. And of course, you want to do it in the city's target market of your choice. Okay, so here are some strategies to build your buyers list. Now, this is a great strategy. Call or email your local real estate management companies or the local real estate management for a list of available rentals. Okay, once you get the list of rentals, either you or your virtual assistant, which we'll get into that later, can do a reverse lookup and find the owner's mailing address and phone number. A free source to do this is to do reverse lookups is whitepages.com. Obviously, an excellent paid source is Intellius, I think it's INTELIUS.com. It's like $30 a month. All right. So now my absolute favorite strategy, and the strategy that I recommend for everybody to do immediately in order to get these buyers and to build your buyers list in your first target market and in every market thereafter, is buy access to data system that you can pump a buyer list all over the country. Okay, so you don't have to budget, beg, borrow, and steal to get it, because these lists and these systems are going to give you the resources to kind of do this all the time. All right, so you can actually go buy a buyer's list from Fiverr. All right, FIV like Victor, ER like Robert, R like Robert. All right, and pretty simple. You can just actually buy a buyer's list, or you can Google and buy a list that way. All right. And then you have your buyer's letter, and the buyer's letter template is already provided for you in your download and resources section. Okay. Now this ninja letter I gave you, you can just swipe and deploy, copy and paste it. It has taken me and my team and some marketers literally years and thousands of dollars to perfect. But the wording in there is done purposefully, and it gets the highest response rate. And I and anybody else that has ever used the letter has the highest response rate that they've ever gotten in their life. So in your mailing, in order to do these, just follow the letter, okay? All right, so then this part, you can go to the dollar store. Get yourself a white envelope, invitation style. Now, they're going to be handwritten envelopes, and they're going to you're going to need red ink, all right? So buy some red pens. So you're going to address it. Then you're going to use what's called the live stamp, which means you're going to go to the post office and buy a book of stamps. The open rate by doing this is 4 times higher than any other method that exists today in direct mail campaigns. The reason is the invitational style with the red ink, with the live stamp, completely takes away any type of commercial look. All right. In many cases, it's going to, you don't want it to look commercial. You want to think, you want them to deliberately approach this person and open it. The open rate, again, is higher than anything else that exists. So that, in conjunction with our letter, will get you phenomenal response rates. All right. Now, when these people call, please do everything you can to build the best rapport that you possibly can with them. Because let me ask you, what is the last time you received something in the mail and then you opened up the letter and automatically called the letter? Yeah, it's probably been a long time. So when you do get the call, recognize that this is an extremely motivated buyer. Okay. I don't care what they say. This is an extremely motivated buyer. Once they call you, you have a hot lead. I think a lot of times people get those phone calls and kind of, for lack of a better term, let's say they piss away those leads thinking, oh, they said they got to talk to their spouse. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Once they called you, you kind of got them. All right. All right. So they're extremely motivated. They want what you're offering. what your property, you know, it's because it's your property. It's the goals he has in life. It's the goals that are going to be achieved through real estate. You're going to help them. So the level of motivation from this call is extremely important. Treat every single call like gold. When approaching your buyers, you do. With all that said, you do absolutely need to keep their luck, keep their work and the vibe, you know, kind of kiss ass, you know, hey, this is a great deal. I have great deals. Come buy them now. Now, treat everybody like that. You need to be the established professional real estate provider. And by begging them for their business, that's not going to get you there. Do not approach them like you're begging them. Don't approach buyers like that. Don't be overly cocky, but be firm, direct, and knowledgeable. You want to come off confident and professional. Make it clear that you are bringing a great value to the table and you do not do business with just everyone. It is a privilege to do business with you, and they need to know that. Now, in order for you to, you know, in order for them to need to know, in order for them to believe that you, trust me, you have to know the value that you're bringing to the table is there. It is extremely high, extremely, extremely high. You are bringing them properties that they would have never gotten without you, okay? Never gotten without you. So these guys, they have goals in life, and they decided that they want to do real estate. They want to flip properties, or they want to buy them. They want it for the return on investment, and you're going to help them reach their goals. You are the person that's going to help them do that. Know that and believe that very deeply. It is very, very important. You got to come off, you got to believe in yourself when you're saying this, and you have to really understand. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, please go back and listen to how you are helping them. When I tell you that just because you know this, 99% of the population do not know these things, and they do have no idea how to find good deals. All right. So you are bringing them a value. I don't care if you're just bringing them to someone else's inventory. They would have never known about that, because you are going to do some legwork to make sure that your wholesaler actually does have a good deal. All right. So, well, let's come off in this conversation. The words, you know, they'll just know. I've always, you know, let my buyers know this. And these are the words that I say. I already have other buyers looking for similar properties that you are. When I bring you a deal that you want, you'll be expected to perform and close. If not, I'll have to take you off my list. Does that sound fair? That's it. Now, you're completely setting the tone when you do this. You should have no expectations, and you keep your integrity. Don't get pulled, you know, around by those rose-picking buyers. Starting off a conversation or ending a conversation like this demands respect, and it demands commitment, both extremely important. Now, question-based selling. So here's a little bit about what question-based selling is. You ask questions about the experience that they have, their real estate strategy. So remember, this was already in module 7, where you kind of follow that same mindset where you're asking questions and you're probing and you want to kind of get to their motivation. You're going to go back to module 7 and kind of remember that mentality and that stance. Okay. You ask questions about the experience so that you know their real estate exit strategy and the niche that they're in. All right. Now, what are their goals? That's what you ask them. Why are they investing in real estate? Ask them that. Create an Excel spreadsheet. I actually give you one for your buyers list and info. So create an Excel spreadsheet for your market. So if, let's say, for example, you moved into the Houston market and you start reaching out to cash buyers and you're getting your cash buyers calls and building your leads, you need to have a very simple Excel spreadsheet that's titled Houston Cash Buyers. The name, the number, the phone, the email. Then very important, a comment section that details out everything that they want. Okay, ask them how long they've been investing. What's their primary investing strategy? What type of property? Single family, multifamily, long-term, short-term? How many properties are you going to buy this year? About what location? Exactly. What size? You know, what's most important? What's your preferred price range? You know, what neighborhood? What zip codes do you like best? The goal here is for them to paint the picture for you of literally their ideal investment property that they would buy time and time again. All right. So this is not like being a real estate agent per se, because you're not going to be driving all around and showing them all of these properties and getting them in your car. But it is kind of taking a little bit of the real estate agent mentality when you're finding out exactly what it is that they want. Okay. Now, I don't recommend starting with these questions until you've already tried to build the rapport. You know, don't just jump right in, use the same kind of script. But building rapport is just simply being friendly on a personal level in the beginning. When that starts to get old, the cash buyer is going, okay, let's talk about what we're going to talk about, and then getting some questions, but not until then. Ask them, Are you interested in rehabs? And if so, do you already have a contract, or would you like mine? Now, don't worry if you don't have one in the market. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that later on. But offering that is a great gesture, and it builds credibility. How much repairs are you comfortable with? Are you working with any banks, hard money lenders, private money, or using your own cash? You are looking for the words. I use my own cash. You know, you're looking for the words. I use my own cash, or I use private money, hard money. It's okay, whatever. Who cares? What are your ultimate goals in real estate? Listen the whole time. Listen, listen, listen. Then ask, where do you want to end up? All right. And lastly, with question-based selling, you need to end the conversation like this. I have a handful of other buyers that I've worked with. So if I send you a property that fits everything that you said and you agree to take the deal, are you prepared and committed to pulling the trigger and closing on the deal? Okay. It's very important to end with this. The reason being, you are showing that you are serious. You are showing that you already have buyers that you want and that he wants. This is much more effective than any other way. You know, you're not kissing butt. I have this. Check this out. Look, buy from me now. Trust me, that's old school way of selling. It doesn't work anymore. This is how we do it. Stay on your throne. Make sure that you are following up with your buyers too. Now, in order to do this, I really highly recommend like Aweber or something like that for an email response. Okay. So again, I'm going to talk to you, I think it's in module 10 about some autoresponders and setting up some of these things on automation. So once you kind of put the emails in there, you automate some of this stuff. You automate the follow-up. All right. But I'll get into that a little bit later because it is super easy to follow up or to, as you write the email, save the emails and then resend the same emails over and over again as follow-up. Okay. But you got to make sure that you're following up with your buyers. Now, in order to do this, like I said, you're going to get an email service provider like GetResponse or Aweber, MailChimp. There's a ton of them, Constant Contact, whatever. But more importantly, when you use an email service provider, it automatically does what's like BCCs. It blind carbon copies them. You don't want to use your regular email because you don't want your buyers to see your other buyers' email addresses. So what that means is just what I said. You send out a bulk email to your list in that market, and they won't see each other's email addresses. That is extremely important. Now, even if you are just a small, minutely savvy with a regular email account like Gmail or Yahoo, you are completely familiar with BCC. Trust me, most people, they want a professional email anyway, so don't do it. In some cases, you can lose a hard-earned cash buyer doing some of this, okay? So you're not spending a lot of time and putting a lot of effort into building. You put a lot of time spent a lot of time building these relationships. Don't mess it up by sending a bulk email and pissing them off and showing all of your emails to the other people that you're sending emails to. So sometimes, not all the times, but it's not a big deal. So in order to avoid it though, use an email provider, like I said, like Aweber or GetResponse. It's free for 30 days. And after that, it's like maybe 10 or 15 bucks a month. This is not expensive stuff. Remember, guys, buyers are your primary focus here. You are the big, badass on the block with all of your buyer connects. So all of your efforts and focus is going to be on building the buyers in your target market. All right. Everyone goes where the money is, and that's going to be you. When you have a powerful buyers list, you represent power, and some things would just seem to happen. So on the number 2 key player on building, your pipeline with wholesalers. All right, building your co-wholesaler list. Who is ideal? Well, there are 2 types of wholesalers in this world. Number 1 is the seasoned pro. The seasoned pro is doing, 3+ deals a month. Sometimes they're doing 20 deals a month. Number 2 is the hardworking newbie. And they're doing absolutely no deals to 2 deals a month. Now, we want both of these in all markets, but that you enter, but, kind of depending on one would be more valuable than the other. Let me explain. The pro has dependable inventory. So you want him. He becomes very valuable in smaller markets, particularly in what we spoke about earlier in the overflow markets, where there are less amount of wholesalers and a less amount of cash deals. The newbie has fresh inventory and he needs you, and he needs your buyers. The newbie is ideal in who you want to target in your markets that are saturated with other wholesalers and saturated with cash buyers. And an example would be Tampa, Florida, Miami, Atlanta, St. Louis, Memphis, Maricopa County, Arizona. These are heavy buyers with lots and lots of wholesalers. But when you meet up and recruit a newbie, They get you fresh inventory. They use their resources and they need you and your buyers. It's literally a match made in heaven. Now let's move on to instantly find co-wholesalers. So Google sell house fast, subject, that's it, and then a county. And you pick a county or a city. So let's say Houston, Texas, for an example. Google, you type in sell house fast Houston. The results from that search will be fellow wholesalers and investors. Reason being is that fellow wholesalers and investors are constantly marketing for motivated seller leads. Motivated sellers are tipping in keywords, sell my house fast, X. Now, organic results versus paid spots. The organic results are not going to be your primary search, okay? You want to look at the organic results are not going to be your primary search. You want to look at the organic results, visit each site and find contact information. Once you do, you want to email them and call them. You're going to provide them with the script that I provided to you to make sure you build a solid relationship with these co-wholesalers. You're going to be doing a lot of work with these guys. Let them know that you have a very large, active, hungry cash buyers list. Here's an example of what is going to look like when you sell a house fast, like Houston, okay? So like the top 3 that may come up, that are going to come up when you first kind of do this are the paid ones. But if you click on one of these guys, they're all fellow wholesalers. You build rapport, you build value with these guys, all right? My Craigslist search method. This is a great little ninja way to find additional co-wholesalers. And what you do is you go into your target market in Craigslist and you search keyword wholesalers typically will use, like ARV, which means after repair values, cash buyers. Search both of those, ARV and after repair value. Do a search of both of those. The abbreviation of ARV also searches after repair value. So also do, you plug in cash only. Also try keywords hard money. There's going to be a little search icon on the top right-hand corner when in the real estate by owner section. That is where you're going to type in the search terms. What is absolutely great about this method is that, they're going to be local. All right. So, and you'll be able to find all kind of, just by doing that search. So back to what I'm saying, little search icon, top right-hand corner. All right. That's in the real estate by owner sections. I want to say that again so you get it. So real estate by owner section in Craigslist is where you want to be and where you want to do the search. That is where you're going to type in the search terms. What is absolutely great about this method is it's one of the best ways to find fresh new wholesale leads. All right. Those are the wholesaler leads that you really want in very saturated markets. Other sources that you can go to besides Craigslist, our Backpage in Kijiji, I think it's Kijiji, another great source for co-wholesalers and to build your co-wholesaler list, obviously, is your local RIAs, and you can find them, obviously, with the Google search or Meetup, okay? That's your local real estate investor association. You need to become a part of these guys immediately if you aren't already. I don't care if you are a newbie or a seasoned pro. Even a seasoned pro can pull off a couple more deals a month by networking with people in the local RIA. Get your vendors list. Now, their vendors list is going to have a list of everybody that is part of their association. RIAs are a great source for recruiting and educating new wholesalers, typically because newer wholesalers go to these real estate meetings. All of the newbies go. So unfortunately, that's where there's actually a lot more new people at your RIA meetings than some of your more seasoned people, because we just don't need to do that anymore. But it's okay. Go out, network, and do those things. It's okay. When you go to one of those meetings, you meet with a fellow new wholesaler. If it's in your local market, of course, this is a great person to recruit, to educate them. Show them your yellow letter campaign from the module and get them going and have them marketing for you for motivated sellers. Help them. Let them use their time and their resources and bring you the deal. Once they bring you the deal, you can bring the cash buyer, and then you guys split the profits 50-50. So you'll have them do the harder part of it. Now, of course, I'm teaching you both sides because you want both streams of revenue, but you really want to be able to just bring a bunch of cash buyers and cash in on those $2,500, $5,000, and $10,000 50-50 splits with other wholesalers. That's some great money right there. Here's why this is profitable. When you have 1, 2, 3, and 10 of these guys in each market doing this for you, the deals are freaking infinite. Okay. Now do the same thing with your co-wholesalers list as you did with your buyers list for each market. Once again, just using Houston as an example, make sure you title it co-wholesaler list Houston, Texas. You should then have the name and the entity name, the phone, the email, and the comments of the co-wholesalers all about whether or not they like the 50-50 split, or whether, you know, they want the properties all marked up, whatever. We'll get into that a little bit later. Make sure you send co-wholesalers what's called the co-wholesaler template. Again, it's provided for you in the resources or download section. Once the co-wholesaler replies to your general response, great. All right. Now they end up wanting one of your deals. I'll send over a simple one-page marketing agreement just so they know ahead of time. We will need to market the property for a fee and just do a profit split. Have a good one. I look forward to doing some business with you together soon. Now, the reason we say this is it sets the tone for the relationship that you're attempting to set up. All right, your co-wholesalers now. Here's some details, some things you need to know about your co-wholesalers just in case you need some clarification. They are the principal on the deal and they are the seller of these properties, okay? Typically, they have not closed yet with the original seller. They will be doing a simultaneous closing. They'll be doing a simultaneous closing or a double closing, or whatever the situation may be with the original seller of the property. Upon closing is when you get paid. They are direct with the seller and they are no, meaning they're no chains, okay? Meaning your goal is not to work with wholesalers that are working with other wholesalers. Your goal is to work directly with the listing or the selling, what we call the selling wholesaler. You want to clarify the compensation and you want it 50-50, okay? This is typically what's done. If the property is under contract for 50 grand, you bring in a buyer and it stands to make $10,000 because the buyer is going to pay 60. You want to split that profit 50-50. That's $5,000 per person, okay? It's very important when entering all relationships with the wholesaler and with your buyer that you disclose that you are not acting as a broker or an agent in any of this process. So here's the co-wholesaling process. You're going to pass a co-wholesaler deal by one of your buyers. You are going to do this once you receive their email. You're going to copy, paste, and edit their email into your email account, like we spoke about earlier, preferably, GetResponse, MailChimp, Constant Contact, something. And you're going to want to make sure all of the hyperlinks and all of their contact information is taken out, but all of your information has been inserted. So you take out the wholesaler stuff and you put your stuff and you mark it, all right? You can even use the same formatting. Make sure there's pictures and details of the property. Again, take out all of their contact information, just have your contact information. Once you have an interested buyer, the co-wholesaler will then sign the marketing agreement. The co-wholesaler shows the property to your buyers, but you must get the agreement signed before this. Close the deal with their closing agency, and then they put you on the HUD-1 settlement statement. That's how you get paid. This is how the process looks. You get the co-wholesaler's deal, you send it over to your cash buyer. When you get interest in that property from your buyer, you make sure you get that marketing agreement signed. This way it will help protect you from them going around and taking your buyer. You then close the deal with their closing agency, and in most cases, the co-wholesaler would take care of all of this for you. In most cases, your job is nearly done. You just wait for your fee. Very, very important. Make sure that you get put on that HUD-1. Make sure you have your business bank account at that point, because you'd want to either have it wired directly to your business account or get your check cut in your business's name. And that, like I said, and also you want to make sure that you get to see the HUD-1 24 hours prior to closing. You want to make sure that your marketing agreement has been turned into the closing agency, to the closing title company. All right. That's pretty much it. So hopefully you kind of understand all of this. I can kind of talk to you about hiring a virtual assistant through some of this. I'll actually probably put that a little bit as one more, because your title company. So I give you a resource in the resources book about finding your closing or title company. Okay. Now, do not settle on this. It's very important. I would not recommend you settling for anybody but the very best. And so I gave you a guy, an attorney. He's physically in Texas, but he does wholesaling, co-wholesaling all around the country. So if you don't have a good title company, or if the person that you're co-wholesaling with is running up into an issue, make sure you have a title, you have an attorney that you can use that is very well versed in wholesaling and co-wholesaling, okay? Because you need to make sure that the closing attorney has all of your info. Now, this is assuming that you don't already have a closing attorney, but you should have one on your side. And like I said, 𝗚𝗡 is one, and I forget, it's like 𝐶𝗳𝗍𝗍 or something like that is how his name is spelled, and I gave that to you already. So that's in the resources sections in one of the modules. And it's easy to do this. You just find out which closing attorney is already working with other wholesalers. So if you don't want to use my guy, let me tell you how to find your own guy. Okay, you just find out which closing attorney is already working with other wholesalers in your market. Whoever that guy is, that's your guy. Do not waste time, asking others and finding somebody else. All you have to do is leverage what somebody else is using, because you want an attorney that already knows this, is familiar with this, and knows how to navigate this, and not think that, and not be just used to dealing with, retail real estate. You want someone that is versed in being with retail and with real estate investors, not just retail. Okay. And then you want to make sure that the attorney is on your vendors list. Okay. Because that's, your attorney needs to understand creative real estate investing. They need to understand double closing, simultaneous closings, things like that. It's a must. If you mention the word simultaneous closing, double closing, wholesaling, they look at you like you're cross-eyed. Don't try to educate them. Thank them and move on. You do not want to try to explain to an attorney that what you're doing is legal if they don't know, because they didn't learn that in law school. Okay, they didn't learn it in college. The same thing like talking to real estate agents sometimes. They just don't know, and they will give you bad information and tell you that you can't do things that you can do legally and make a lot of money. And they're not making a lot of money, so they sure as heck don't know. And this is why I tell you about telling your big stuff to small minds. All right? So, okay. All right. So the virtual assistant thing, let me just quickly talk to you about virtual assistant and using Craigslist to hire a virtual assistant. So remember, you can use Craigslist to find people to put out your signs. You can use Craigslist to find people to be your virtual assistant. You can use Fiverr. You can use 123employee.com to find. You can use Elance. You probably want a virtual assistant at some point, because this will be a great revenue stream for you. Okay, this will be a great revenue stream for you, and you'll also be able to find contractors. So let me tell you one other thing that you can use Craigslist for in this process. Okay. Hold on one second, because I forget what I was going to say. So contractors are on Craigslist as well, and you can use them to help market your property and help you find deals. Contractors have been an amazing resource for me for finding wholesale deals and wholesale properties. They're always fixing properties. They are dealing with real estate. They're a great resource. Start befriending contractors as well, okay? Because these are your local scouts, and you will need this. And you can use Craigslist to find your local scouts, okay? So they consist of contractors, friends, acquaintances. I told you, aspiring wholesalers. Now, contractors you can do by searching on Craigslist for a handyman looking for work. Let them know that you are an investor and you will be doing more work in their area. And let them know that you will be sending them more work, but for now you would like them to view properties and get information on properties of interest since you're out of the state. So that's another way you can use them to go look at properties, okay? And then you can just pay them through PayPal and stuff like that. Now, you only need to do this if your co-wholesaler can't go out and do this. And let's say they can't take a picture for you that your buyer wants, or you need some more information, or to put a lockbox on a property, you can pay people. So a smart little ninja trick is to build an alliance with a contractor or somebody else that will actually do these type of things for you. Take pictures, open doors, put lockboxes on, give you estimates, scope of work. So contractors are awesome. Handymen can do these things. So now when it comes to a handyman that we build alliances with, we pay them between $30 and $50, but depending on how many picks or tasks they are. Handymen love this stuff because they're local. They're doing work in the neighborhood already. And if all is good, let's just say 1 o'clock, you give them $30. They're already going over there anyway. They're extremely happy. A lot of times, they're paying Angie's List and Home Advisors for leads, and you're just giving them money. Okay. So, and they're very loyal, and you'll use these people for some of your smaller work anyway. So your friends can do these type of things for you, but I recommend paying someone. You pay for what you get. And when you're relying on someone to, like a friend or a family, to do it for free, and you're not paying them, then you don't be surprised if your results are lacking. But build your local scouts. All right. Build your local scouts. So sometimes your co-wholesaler can't do some of the things that you can. All right. And your co-wholesaler can. So when you get somebody good, compensate them. Friends, acquaintances, use them if they can. Your friends can do things for you if this is ever needed. They can do things like deliver a contract, view a property for its condition, takes pictures, open doors. So sometimes your co-wholesaler can't do that for one reason or the other, and you have someone else that can do it. And in that case, if you're in a market where you have a friend or an acquaintance, simply ask them to do this for you. Either pick up a contract, view a property, tell them for the conditions, whatever it is, and then pay them. But the best person to do this is aspiring wholesalers, okay? They are your best source as a scout. You create an alliance with these guys, and then you educate and mentor them. Even if they've never yet done a deal, you have me, you have this program as a support. So you can start to feel empowered to start to bring people under you, because you do know a lot, and you're going to record this and you're going to get a great understanding, because repetition does help. So I know this was a little bit longer. I know I said a lot, but you want to start to scale, and this is a very easy way to scale some of these things, okay? So congratulations, you kind of got through all of this. Like I said, your vendors list, real estate, play matchmaker, get paid, have fun. Don't forget, let me know. I love to hear about your successes. If you have any questions or you're not understanding some of this, listen to it again. I'm telling you, sometimes when you hear things 2 and 3 times, it really starts to make sense. And that's when you start to grasp the concept of what you are doing step by step. But again, get in action. Talk to you soon.